Welcome back to Sports with Warbs. I'm going to be bringing you my NFC NFL picks for Wildcard Weekend coming up. Like I said, I broke it into two videos, AFC and NFC, so this is the NFC part. The Saturday afternoon game is the Rams and the Seahawks. This is another game that I kind of had as a toss-up in my head, much like the Titans and the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Rams here. This is if Jared Goff starts. If they're putting in their backup, then I assume the Seahawks will be able to steamroll them. But if Goff starts and it looks like he's practicing as of now and Cooper Kupp is back, then I'm going to have to just go with the Rams. So basically, the Seahawks kind of had a funny year this year. They started out with the whole let rest cook thing, which was exciting to start the season, but it's kind of fizzled out a bit in terms of they're letting Carson get in their run game more. Teams have kind of figured out how to shut down Lockett and Metcalf a little more, as they know that Russ can just basically heave it downfield to them and they're guaranteed to catch it and get the touchdown. So defense has been focusing a lot more on that, which has kind of put a stop to it. The Seahawks were averaging 34 points a game in the first half of the season, and that went all the way down to 22 in the second half of the season. So, like I said, inconsistent season for them. I just don't know if this is the Seahawks year. I mean, the Seahawks are always good. I think they're always going to make the playoffs with Russ. But I don't know. There's a lot of good teams this year that I think are probably just a little bit better than them, and they're just a little too unreliable right now. The Rams have great defense with Ramsey and Donald at the helm. If Goff starts, he basically just needs to put up a couple touchdowns, and I think they'll be able to get this win. I think it'll be close. I think the Seahawks can definitely win, but as my pick for this game, I'm just going to have to go with the Rams. Like I said, if Goff starts, that's my pick. Moving on to the Saturday night game, Bucs and the Washington football team. As you can see, I've got my Patriots Brady on right now. I've got to go with the Bucs. I mean, this isn't just because I'm a Brady fan also. It's because of the matchup pretty much. Brady has been a top 10 QB this year in the QB rating. He has so many weapons on this team. Even with Evans, they're not sure what's going on with him, then that's kind of the reason why they brought in Antonio Brown. Like for a moment like this, if they're going to the playoffs, they lose one of their big receivers. They still got Godwin. They still got Ronald Jones as their running back, obviously, who can make plays. They've got Gronk as the tight end, who's actually had a pretty decent year considering his first year out of retirement, especially playing with Brady. Obviously, he trusts him. So to bring in Brown and still have those two elite wide receivers in Godwin and Brown, it's obviously leaves me still hopeful for them in the playoffs. Washington football team has a good coach. I love Ron Rivera. He's awesome. They've got Chase Young and Sweat coming in on defense. Their defense is really fun to watch. They're exciting. You saw Chase Young say, "I'm coming for you, Tom Brady." You got to love that energy, especially from a team that made it in the last week of the season in the worst division of football. But I do like the football team. I think they're going to just probably get better next year, and they'll be able to win this division a little more handedly. For this year, they did win it. They're here. And to be fair, it's kind of like they're playing with two separate teams. They were playing with Haskins. They've got all these different quarterbacks. Smith's been injured, not injured, but it looks like he's playing. So they could pretty much be seen as a totally different team with Smith. I think Tampa will be dialed in. It's Tom in the playoffs. He's got a lot to prove. He wants to make it to the Super Bowl, play at Tampa at home. In this wildcard game, I got to pick the Bucs. And then finally, the Bears and the Saints. As much as I like to see the Bears sneak in with Mitch at the end of the year, I got to pick the Saints. Much more reliable team here. The Saints also, what I kind of like about them is they have the unpredictability to them. They went without Drew Brees because of the rib injury for a lot of the year. They had to put Taysom Hill in. And that kind of just threw in a whole nother wrench to their unpredictability. Everyone knows he can be like any position he wants, and he's playing quarterback. But the fact that they can kind of run all these different plays, they've got Jameis if they need him. They got Drew, they got Taysom. Kamara and Thomas are questionable, which obviously isn't great. I saw reports that they think they're probably going to play. It's the playoffs. Like, these guys always want to get out there desperately. But either way, I think they're going to be able to find a way to adapt. They've been adapting all year. They're playing the Bears, which just snuck in. As much as Mitch is playing better, I'm going to take my chances with the 12-4 Saints team, who finished second in the division over the Bears, unfortunately. It'll be interesting to see Mitch in the playoffs. I don't know if anyone expected this, even after the good start to the season for Chicago. Everyone kind of assumed that was a fluke, but here they are. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Those are my picks for the weekend, and I will see you later. We'll be right back.